Happy New Year. Yep, that's right. We're not recording this in the new year, but we are going to put it out in the new year whilst we're all hungover and regretting our decisions. But yeah, this is going to be a very special little Retake the Week insert because we're supposed to really take the winter off. There's no games to talk about, nothing really upcoming. Everyone's with their families. But we thought, hey, we'll take a little bit of time and just talk about the upcoming year and some of the things we hope for, some things we really want to happen. And yeah, joining me as he always does is Quacke. I'm sure he's going to be leading us off with an absolute banger in a second when I let him go. So this is our wish list for 2024, and the first item is.
Oh, is it mine?
Yes, no, I didn't set you up just to say my own, but
All right. Sorry. Okay. The first one is that I wish for a Swedish team to attend one of the majors in 2024. We're
just
getting
one
two
of the
majors again. At least one. At least one of the
Okay.
majors. I'm gonna be fully honest. I think there's a small chance that someone manages to make Copenhagen if they do their homework over the winter break. I don't think. I think there's a reason why eyeballers were so close to getting the closed qualifier invite. Like, I think they have a good foundation. They just need to do it's sort of close. But what I think is really possible is for one of them to make, or at least one of them to make the Shanghai major in the fall. Since we have two majors again, of course.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there's good stuff coming out of a lot of the teams. I think Medisport are probably gonna properly start doing things after the summer, because for the spring season, 3 of their members are still in high school. So like this is CS is still not their
Yeah.
primary focus. Um, but primarily I'm looking at Godsend and Eyeballers. Of course, I think I mentioned this before. I think they like Godsend and Eyeballers are the top 2 Swedish teams right now, and they are the ones that have a decent chance of making a major. It's been so long since we had a Swedish majority team. I don't even know when the last time was. It would have been Berlin when NIP was there. So I guess the NIP were Swedish majority when they went to Stockholm. Maybe even Antwerp as well. All right, maybe it hasn't been that long, but it's been a long time since we had like a
Swedish
full.
majority versus like a proper Swede lineup, right?
They weren't even really Swedish at that point, were they? Like even in Stockholm, it was like, I think at that point we would have had S tag basically confirmed to come in, and Device was there. Like it's I just want like a proper Swedish team to be there, and I think there's a good chance of it. There's a good chance of it. Stuff is moving upwards, so that's probably my first wish. It would be very important for Sweden in an esports context.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if we can finally see between the Swedes and well, the only other like nation that has teams of 5 worth talking about right now is Russia. If we finally see a return to some national teams actually competing, because we don't really see it at all anymore. It was it's the international experiment that became the international lineup meta, and now yeah, we don't really see it anymore. So Godsent are the team I think has the highest ceiling of Godsent and Eyeballers. I have some faith in Eyeballers players. Like, I don't think they're terrible. I just don't think they've shown as much potential. And then overall, out of the 3, obviously, we know that Metasport are not going to be there for a while. But I definitely think Metasport, if we're talking pure ceilings, far and away, have the highest potential.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll have to follow it, because the RMR system with the open qualifiers and all that stuff can lead to a lot of like big revelations and upsets, and you've gone invisible. Okay, we are back. We briefly lost our Swede there. Just technical difficulties for a third world country. But yeah, as I was saying, that's pretty much my take on the Swedish scene. I'm not going to hold out too much hope because yeah, we're preying on development here, really. Or one of the teams to show us that secretly they've been a LAN team all along. They'll struggle through the online stages, show up on LAN and just smash everyone. Be like, okay, that was unexpected.
How amazing surprise. Would it be to see JW smash at a major?
Oh, that would be sensational. I mean,
yep.
Just to see JW back in a major would be crazy.
Yep.
Especially with the level he's playing, which is not particularly high. To see him suddenly make a comeback and just double his output or something would be crazy. Actually crazy.
All right.
But no, it would be a long shot, but I appreciate it. It's a good long shot to try and take. It's something you can wish for. It makes sense. Now, my first wish is it's a very petty wish, but it's I want Valve to make a fake update to VAC. I want them to pretend to update VAC. Like, not actually change a damn thing about VACnet, which is, slowly getting better in the background. Not really change the way they apply their ban waves. Just pretend. Like, just put out updates saying random crap. Like, we've changed this. Make up words. Just so that either A, the Reddit people who complain about their cheaters realize that it's just them being bad and they're just making it up in their head, so they stop complaining because they go, oh, there's no more cheaters. In their minds, it's cleared up. Or the second option is that then everyone on Reddit who posts about this stuff gets really angry because there's cheaters in their game specifically, and so they get even angrier because they don't like these people. So I think that'd be a very fun thing for Valve to do, is pretend to update VAC. Don't actually change a damn thing, but just piss the world off.
I mean, there's something to say for that, because I know there are Valve developers who have done something similar in the past. Like, people always complain about the netcode, and people got pissed because there were commands. You remember when CS2 launched, and there was that command for like the interpolation that could it was supposed to fix everything, and people said, oh, I use these commands, and now my game feels fine again. It's so good. And then they removed the commands and claimed they never did anything, and people still got pissed that they removed their settings that were doing things. Like, they literally said, oh, these commands are legacies in CSGO. They don't do anything. We're going to remove them to like, they don't need to be there. And then people said, oh, man, you made the game worse again. You're removing options from us. So, and there was also, along the same time, there was an old clip of, I think it was from 1.6 even, where people used to complain a lot about having high ping in 1.6.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so like people would play on like 100 ping, and they would say, oh, the game is unplayable on 100 ping. Why am I getting this high ping? Because that's just, how servers worked in those days. So at some point, some developer at Valve who was speaking at a conference said that he just artificially decreased the ping counter on the scoreboard by 50. Like, just took the actual number, minus 50, display that. And everybody stopped complaining about the lag. Like, they claimed there was no lag anymore. The game was lagging exactly as much. They were just not seeing the number. That's why I think like the net graph being removed might be a good thing. Like, how people won't complain as much if they see, I'm getting drops from 300 to 200 FPS. It's like, it's not something you're gonna notice unless you see the number decrease. So, yeah, I think this, this might actually be a good thing. Just say like, drastically improved VAC, like at the bottom of the patch notes.
Oh, banned 82.3% of cheaters in latest ban wave.
Yeah, like
something they can't even measure, but just say they did.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm just tired of seeing the Reddit just constantly. Like, I don't go there particularly often. I don't go there to usually interact with it. I go there to post my videos and just, it's on my front page. Reddit, I follow like 4 communities. If there's updates to the games I play, I know about it. That's about all I use it for. But every time I open Reddit, it's just, oh, Valve, please fix CSGO. CSGO unplayable. Cheaters at 15k. I'm 8k and there's cheaters everywhere. Like, no, there isn't. You're bad. Like, shut up. Please, for the heavens' sake, just shut up. I've actually encountered this problem where I'm getting accused of cheats all the time because I play with... Well, I have some friends who just don't play games at all. They have this weird thing called a life. And so we play like competitive, not Premier, competitive, which is the new casual.
Yep.
It's basically smurfing if you've ever had a rank in any Counter-Strike game, because everyone in those games is completely terrible, like unplayably terrible. Like, they shouldn't have a mouse and keyboard. Those people think I'm cheating. I click with a gun on their head once, hacks. It cannot be. And they start rage quitting. You're like, these are the people on Reddit. I bet you.
Yeah, it is. I've had the same. But yeah.
So that's a very simple wish, I think. Just shut these people up, get the Reddit back to being about, I don't know. I don't even know what it was before. Like, bad videos. Like, I remember when it was just bad videos. I was one of those bad videos. Just go back to that. That was more fun.
Okay.
But alright, yeah. Move on to your second point, which, I think is going to be quite an interesting one to talk about, actually.
This is a personal one. I want to attend a Counter-Strike LAN at some point this year. Whether big or smaller. Valve have somehow managed to move the spring major, which was always in my exam period, to another exam period in the spring. So probably won't be able to attend Copenhagen either way. And I'm not really
Coward.
feeling going to China at the moment. So, but I mean, there's still events that I want to attend. I think I was very close to going to Jönköping this winter, but I'm kind of happy I did because it ended up being a very bad weekend. I caught COVID and stuff, so I want to try to attend something. Like I want to make a trip, whether it be something smaller, like going to Jönköping spring for Challenger. DreamHack obviously being the fun thing to attend in general, but there's also a CS LAN with hopefully some teams that I really like, maybe a Swedish team showing up. Cologne is not impossible, and I think it would be kind of fun, like that sort of September area. There's 2 events I think would be kind of fun, which is EPL, which you said before we started recording is basically just a Malta vacation with some Counter-Strike.
For everyone involved, including the players, sometimes I feel like.
Yeah. And then also Fall Final, which is in Copenhagen, which should be a bit easier to like make happen rather than the major. It might be a bit cheaper. And also it's just like in September. Not a lot is happening in September. I can probably squeeze that. So there's a couple of events that I think I could attend, and I would definitely want to, because I have technically been to one. I just didn't know it because I was at DreamHack Summer in 2017, and I like for 2 rounds in the final, I walked into the hall where they were having the DreamHack Open at the time.
Summer 2017.
Yeah, summer 2017. I was there with some friends. Not for Counter-Strike at all. We just went there to like watch the concerts and game. Like
you went there for the music. Oh wait, were you doing BYOC?
Yeah, but then
okay, yeah, that makes more
we
sense.
ended up most of the time we ended up just spending like watching, like looking at the different expos and like the concerts and just sleep. But for like 2 rounds in the final, I've looked this up in the past because I remember like roughly what teams were playing. I just noticed, oh, there's a CS:GO event going, and it was like 2 rounds in the final of a DreamHack Open. So technically, I have attended as a Counter-Strike LAN, but yeah, I want to make it happen. Not particularly intentionally, and at some point this year, I want to do it. Whether it be, in my role as a writer, adjusts bow tie, or as as just a fan, making a weekend out of it. So yeah, that would be really fun for me.
You see, what's interesting to me is the fact that you live in Sweden and you have never actually done this. Like, you live in the easiest country to attend CS LANs. There are LANs all the time in Sweden. Small ones, there's big ones right next door in Finland and in Denmark, as well as the ones that happen in Stockholm, Malmö, other places. And yet somehow you've just been like, yo, my little village in the south is chill. I'm not going to bother with all this crap.
I mean, yeah, it might be part of it. It's a small town. Like, it's sort of out of the way. But I shouldn't complain, because compared to some other countries, I have quite an easy way to get around with public transport and stuff. But
yeah,
for me, sometimes just like, oh, it's a 4-hour train ride. Nah.
Nah, 4-hour train, nah. Me travelling 7 hours, starting at 1 a.m. just to get to DreamHack. Yep. 5 years. 5 years, 5 events in a row. But no. Can't hop on a train, that's too much effort. Now, you see, I think the first DreamHack I attended was the one just after the one you went to, by accident, which was winter 2017.
Yep.
So I still have a signed cap, a Na'Vi cap, with the signatures of 3 of the Na'Vi players at the time, plus the coach.
Oh.
So yeah. That's still a pretty cool memento I've lied about.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, yeah.
But yeah, the team at the time was also a bit of a banger. They were fresh with electronic.
Mm-hmm.
So it was electronic, simple, flamey Edward Zeus, and you got the old school players, you got the new wave. It was a pretty cool time to watch this Na'Vi roster. But yeah, I definitely think you should make an effort for the major though. Like, exams, schmigschmams. Like, who cares? Just take the L, get a U like I did in half of them, and then just move on with your life. You can retake them in the summer or whatever. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, a lot of them are already retakes, so I'm just like, I'm doing a retake for a retake.
Oh god.
Yeah. I don't
that
really
I can
feel
relate
like
to as well.
Yeah. I have to get it out of the way, man. I need to make this happen. But yeah, at some point it would be fun. I think the major is obviously cool to attend. I wish I could attend the major this year, and I hope to do it at some point. Of course, but I think there's a lot to be said for other events as well, like being a bit out of the way. As a spectator, I think there's a lot of CS fans who watch just the majors because they don't even notice when other events are going.
Yeah, not everyone has HLTV just open all day, every day.
Yeah,
I found that out one day. I was talking to somebody who was like a more casual fan at a major, and they were like, "What's HLTV?" I looked at
yeah.
I was angry. I was like, "What do you mean? How is this website not your entire life? Like, it tells you when the Counter-Strike's happening."
Yeah, these people exist. So like, the
Wild.
major is like the big thing that people watch. But I think there's a lot to be said for obviously something like Cologne. Cologne is definitely possible for me to. It's like in the north of Germany. Like,
Yeah, I've wanted to attend Cologne as well, but every time it happens, it's like it's during like summer. I'm usually doing other holiday stuff, like visiting family.
yeah.
Going to Greek islands and getting shit faced, really important parts of my culture. So I can't like justify Cologne at that time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I want to make an effort this year. It's probably hopefully gonna happen.
Sorry, I just had to yell at someone. Everyone's decided today is like this is the exact moment we're going to step around the stairs real loud and shout at dogs. And the dogs are going to start shouting back. I love it. Right, my second wish is one that I kind of have had for a while because, well, the scene's not been in a great state. I want us to return to like an elite group of teams that kind of dominate the entire year consistently and don't fuck everything up all the time. Because I remember 2016, even 2017, there was like 5 teams you could rely on.
2019, I'll make a case for.
Yeah, there's a couple other years where it happened, but like you actually had teams where there was like 3 that would always be in the top 4. There were 5 that would be always competing for those top 4 spots and guaranteed to make playoffs. Like there was no way they were failing in groups. Like you didn't have to worry about like G2, like win Cologne, bomb out in groups. There was not anywhere near as much of that. We had a bigger calendar as well with 4-team invite-only events, which helped. But still, it was an elite tier, and I hope this year we get it. And I already know 3 of the 5 teams I want to be in there ahead of time. I want FaZe, I want Vitality, and I actually want MOUZ. Honestly, prior to this year, I might have said I want G2 up there, but they've just started getting worse and worse players. I don't know why, and being less and less consistent, so I don't really care if it's them or not. Who are the other 2? The 2 teams I had in mind personally was Spirit and VP, just because they're 2 teams I really enjoy watching and I want to see more of. But overall, I don't care who the 5 are. I really don't. I just want it to be consistent, high-level play from this group of teams, rather than chaos. Complete chaos. Like, in the last year, aside from Vitality and FaZe, was there any guarantee anyone would ever do anything? No. No, there was a chance, like G2, just go win 2 prestige events, and then not do anything for the rest of the year. So I don't want to see that sort of state of the scene because it becomes, honestly, at times tedious. There's only so many upsets I can watch in a row before I go, alright, can we sort our shit out? Like, can we please just sit down, figure out how to play Counter-Strike again, and move on, because this is getting tired. So that's my second wish. I want an elite set of teams. I couldn't give a shit about the teams below them until we get to tier 2, where I'll be watching every match anyway. Just give me a great top set that play good Counter-Strike at every big LAN. That's all I want.
Yeah, I think that easily makes, when you have like a wide span of competitors who are like genuinely even on some level, in any sport, that's sort of where you get the most entertainment out of it. Because I watching Formula 1, for example, there was a time when I think a lot of fans, I wasn't around unfortunately, but there was a lot of fans will probably say that like 2011, 2012, that was sort of a time where you had like half the grid would be in contention for winning a race. And in CS, if we're talking about CS, in 2019, late 2019, that's sort of when I started getting into things. And I remember there was a time where we sort of had this, where Astralis were still top to some degree, but if we're talking like post Berlin 2019, that final quarter, Astralis were still top, but they were sort of not immortal anymore. Like you could actually make a dent. There was MOUZ genuinely a solid competitor. They made a run of like 5 grand finals in a row at that point.
Yeah.
Fnatic went from not qualifying to Berlin to being a genuine contender. They won that DreamHack Masters versus Vitality, who are another one. Liquid were just coming off of their like mini era that people were talking about. Still a solid contender. Evil Geniuses had just hit number 1 solidly as well. Like that team was maybe not the best in the world, but they were definitely up there, and they were definitely one you had to count on. And then, of course, you had the upset teams. Like you had, I think even Furia did something at that point. You still had teams like Navi doing something occasionally. You had FaZe starting to build something with Colsera that was looking sort of interesting. 100 Thieves had just bought the Renegades lineup. Like then you had the upset teams aside from that. But at this point, we have FaZe and Vitality, and then we have a bunch of teams who sometimes do something. And it's a lot less exciting to do that when the barrier of entry to being top 3 is to show up, sort of.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
Some of the rankings we've seen towards the end of this year have been absolutely absurd. Like, you can win a random offshoot event and join the top 5 just comfortably, just like cruise in.
Yeah,
you can live off the glory of like one major top 8 for 6 months.
Yeah, I sort of feel like that's why Virtus Pro are top 5 at this point, because they had a good run. They had a good run of small events, which is pretty much meaningless. Like they haven't even faced Vitality, FaZe, or Mouse, or G2 like pretty much at all for most of this fall season, and they are still top 5, ranked above like teams who genuinely have. So for that reason, I feel like it's boring that we don't have this wide range of competition. So I'm hoping that obviously we've had huge shuffles. I think one team that could end up being in that solid top 5, if things shake out, could be Liquid, because on paper that's one of the strongest lineups we have going into 2024.
Yeah, I didn't even consider the new lineups. I didn't think about like Falcons or Liquid. I just thought about the teams we already have. But if we're adding them to the mix, Liquid being consistent out of the gate as an elite level team, as their players indicate they could be. Oh, sign me up! Sign me right up.
Yeah, out of the gate, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, they need another year. Like that's not going to be it. I think they're probably going to build something.
Really. It can't be. They're too old to get a year. You'll need to sort it out now.
Falcons, I think, could be one that's sort of like they use this year to build, and then slightly more long term. But they could also just be good out of the gate. Cloud9 could maybe sort out their issues. Like who knows? I doubt it, but they could. But yeah, I think it would be nice to have a solid top 5 to count on. Because that makes the upsets. I'm a big fan of upsets. I love the underdog story of like a team challenging the top. But when there is no top, that's much less exciting.
Yeah, is it an upset or is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's a legit question we had to ask at times this year. I mean, the Blast Paris Major was the worst example of just, you got to the end of it, you thought, well, there was one good team and they won the event. And then everyone else, chaos. Just chaos. Yeah. So, less of that, more of the old school, we know what we're doing type vibe. Like, that'd be very, very appreciated. But yeah, I don't think I'm asking for much. Just, I want another prime Premier League type, thing where we have like 5 teams at the top, everyone else gets shit on. Great, move on. But alright, speaking of moving on, your final wish of the year.
My final point is very much related. It is sort of that while you want to bolster that top, I also want to bolster the lower layer of teams that can cause an upset. Mm-hmm. And specifically, I want that layer to be filled with teams that aren't partner teams, because this is the final year we have the partner circuit. Valve are outlawing the circuit of partnerships with ESL and Blast for 2025. We're sort of opening up the circuit in that regard. And I think it would be very nice to see consistent competitors outside of that span, because we've all talked about like the freebie that EG had being partners of like ESL and Blast. I think to a degree, even NIP, or definitely NIP, are benefactors of that as well. There's other teams. I could see, depending on how this heroic team shakes out, like Counter-Strike wise, I could see them being someone with some, like a team that benefits from that. Astralis, to a degree, probably have benefited from that as well, being that they've underperformed to some degree relative to their standing as an org. But you keep getting these invites and you keep staying afloat because of it. What I'm hoping is that we can see teams like Spirit being the obvious one, with a lineup that should be able to compete properly this year. But then I also see teams like Eternal Fire, MIBR. These are the upset teams that have happened in the past year. And I hope that we can see them sort of more consistently challenging that top. Not necessarily becoming top teams. I think that's a very tall ask for teams like Apex, Eternal Fire, MIBR, BetBoom.
Yeah.
And then also like Big and Falcons, who are like bigger actors who I hope can sort of get a foothold. While I don't see them, I think it's a very, very, very tall ask to be the top, the guys who are constantly challenging for event wins. It would be nice to see someone like build a team that can be a playoff contender anywhere they go, without relying on these invites constantly.
Yeah, basically, this just sounds like let's replace the mediocre, very uninteresting teams we had in the last 2-3 years, slash some of them outright dog shit, like Evil Geniuses, with teams actually worth following. Because we've watched teams like OG, Fnatic for a long time, just constantly a revolving door of mid. And we have no choice but to see them everywhere. Like, absolutely everywhere. Like, we didn't want this. No one wanted to see OG lose 2-0 to everyone again. But, they made it close on their map pick. No one cares. No one really wants to see that. A team that can lose 2-1, but who have a bunch of young players and who are on the way up, yeah, that's a team I want to see a lot more. That's a team worth following. So yeah, I get the point entirely. If it happens to be, I mean, you clearly want it to be non-partner teams specifically this year. I can't get that specific with my dreams in that sense. But
I think the point is that to some degree we want to see an effect in 2025 from the opening of the circuit.
Yeah,
and we won't see that effect unless we have teams starting to make upsets.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it a lot like money plays such a big part in any sport, and especially in esports. That's like money is part of the reason why a lot of these orgs aren't partners of ESL and Blast already. So
yeah, that an opportunity for some of them, but
yeah, but like making it cheaper to be a top competitor, I think would be positive for our scene. And non-partner teams need to start breaking through for that.
Yeah, the big place teams usually do it, and the way they've done it, this year specifically, has been the major. a good ranking at the major gets you up in everyone's like placing. You get more invites. That'd be very interesting to see if we can have any more breakthroughs like that happen early. Because if a team like the ones you mentioned, like Eternal Fire, like Spirit, finishes top 8, top 4 at the major, like they're one of the few upset runs. Hopefully, it's not 6 upset runs, Vitality and FaZe, but if they're one of the few, they can then leverage that. They can spend the rest of the year getting invited stuff based off their ESL World Ranking. They can actually make some relevant placings. I mean, it's a shame the circuit is so much smaller than it used to be. I think everyone's realised that as they looked at the HLTV stats for the year. Everyone looked, wow, like no one's playing, like at all. It's so weird. So it's a shame that's the reality of it. But just to get that launching point, just through Pro League, some of them through Katowice play-ins, through the first major, if these teams can springboard into an actual full season of competitive play, yeah, it'd be great to see. And then 2025, we open it up. Who knows how it's going to look, if we're even going to have the same events, or if we're going to have the same things, all run by ESL, just without the paid slots. I'm sure they'll find another way to get around it. They'll have some sort of special partnership program that isn't the same.
I actually noticed this. This was something I didn't know from the original ruling, but it wasn't just that Valve outlawed partnership programs. The rule is now that from 2025 onwards, every single event needs to make their invites based on the Valve ranking or through an open qualifier. You cannot have a team attending an event based on
Open
anything
qualifier.
other than... Yeah. you cannot have a team attending an event based off anything other than an open qualifier circuit, like you play open qualifiers into closed qualifiers into the event. I'm assuming that's allowed, but to some degree, anyone has to be able to join, or through invites based on the Valve ranking. So like, I'm a little iffy on this. Could you still do regional invites? I'm assuming you could. Like, if you were hosting, say you were hosting a LAN for the Balkan region, do you still need to invite all of the top teams before that?
Here's my Balkan region LAN. Hello,
yeah.
FaZe.
Here's a Balkan invitational, and then you still need to send invites to FaZe, Vitality, Mouse. I'm assuming you could just like scale it down to say we're just gonna look at Balkan teams, but we're still gonna go in order of the Valve ranking. So like ESL will have no choice if they want 12 invites for EPL out of 32 teams.
It won't be fit for purpose. If you have to apply it to low level, it just won't be fit for purpose. The ranking, that is, it just won't work. I mean, be ugly as hell.
I'm hoping that you could maybe say that to some degree, Valve won't care. Like if CCT decide to invite only teams ranked 30 or lower, they won't care. But like the rule in technicality is that they need to invite it based off of the ranking.
Okay.
But what I'm assuming is that if ESL want 12 invited teams for EPL, they need to they need to send the invites to the 12 highest ranked teams in the Valve ranking, and assuming they all accept, they have to attend. They could, of course, just decline the invite, and then you can move on to the 13th and the 14th, and then the rest need to be to some degree open to. I don't know if I'm assuming you could do like regional qualifiers, like you could have a polling.
No, you would. I mean, hopefully this kills the ESL regional invites for everything based on winning national championships, because that's one of the
they're gone either way. They are gone either way.
Okay, good. Because those have wound me up for years now. Watching random teams just show up because they won the German league. Like, why? But the interesting part about that is surely we can invite based on the rankings to a closed qualifier, right? Like, I don't have to.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't have to literally do an open qualifier where anything can happen for 6 weeks just to get my next 12 teams for Pro League. Like, surely I can just close qualifier.
I'm assuming you could still do something like we have a team of 16 attendees. We invite the top 8 highest ranked teams to the main event, and then the next 4, like 9 to 12, are invited to the closed qualifier or something like that. Like, I'm assuming you could still make that layering.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to get real silly if I have to do an open quali for every slot that isn't invited. My God.
The rule basically says that you can't just invite teams because you feel like it. Like BetBoom, let's say BetBoom sponsor another event, they can't just invite BetBoom because they are like the organizer's team. If you're ESL, you can't just say Evil Geniuses are invited to this LAN held in, or they're gone either way. But let's say they weren't, like they were. You can't just say we're inviting EG to this North American hosted LAN because they are North American. You would rather say we have to look at the North American teams and invite the top ranked North American team.
Yeah, there's a lot of little specific things here that need to be explained, because if we can regional invites be done?
Yep.
Yeah, can we do that? Can we even have low ranked events not follow this system? Like, if BetBoom Dacha, like that sort of event happens again, do I have to invite the best teams, wait for them to decline, then invite rank number 16, who's the first team I want to invite anyway? Like, I want to invite people from 16 down. Do I have to invite the first 15, hope they all say no, and what are we doing? Like, if that's actually how it's going to work, it's going to get real weird.
I think we need some clarification on this, but yeah.
Yeah, we've got a year.
I didn't even know that was part of the rule, so until I read it again, related to the Blast partnership expansion. So then,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my final wish is just, we'll wrap it up, it's short and sweet, fix the fucking demos. I can't watch demos, it's getting on my nerves. Like, I have a 4 to 10 day period, depending on how long there is between updates, to watch a demo. Before the next demo, I'm watching a player, he's got his knife out, alright, sick. Pulls out his Glock, alright, cool. Now his Glock's in his fucking face, and I can't see the screen. Like, why? Why is this a thing? How have you broken it? All you have to do on a demo is record player locations and actions. Then it just has to take those and create the animations based on what's already on the game. Like, how is this broken? How are you breaking this? It's broken every time. Some of them just don't boot. Like, you try to load them, they just crash the game. Like, what's going on? How have you messed this up? So please, just give me a consistent demo viewer so I can just watch the games without having to stare at a crosshair that's being obfuscated by like 13 different models that are like clashing with the guy's viewpoint. It shouldn't be this hard. It's making just understanding what's going on in the game impossible, and it makes making a video out of it, like recording clips, literally impossible for me. So I need a fix for this. It's getting on my tits. If you ever notice in Prospect, the clips don't seem to line up with anything. It's because I had like 2 functioning demos out of 16 that I watched. The script is based on 16, the demo recording is based on 2. So
yeah,
it's kind of messy right now.
Yeah. I realized this quite early because I was like, oh, all right, I want to see what teams are doing for CS2 because I wanted to apply it to my own games. I wanted to be like, oh,
yeah.
100, like when we started getting tier 2 maps on CS2, like the very first ones, I was like, they have definitely done their homework. I'm going to watch this Prezi map because they might have some cool nades. And then it was just like, download, put it in the game, game crashes. I looked everywhere. How do you fix this? How do you fix this? And then eventually I think it was you who just told me, oh, there's no fix. It's just broken at the moment.
Broken, yeah.
And that was like in September. It's we've gone past everything now. We've gone past the entire fall season. We've gone past Christmas, and we still don't have a fix.
It's the thing is, it's not even that. We do have fixes sometimes. It temporarily works, or on this patch you go to this beta and it works. So I'm constantly booting up demos, seeing them not work, downloading the new, like a beta, seeing if it works on that beta, downloading a different beta, seeing if it works on, and man, it's just a frustrating mess. Currently, the only demos I can watch are from this literal off-season. So the teams I get to pick between are like Metisport, VP Prodigy, Aurora Youngblood, FTW. Like, they're the teams who've basically, I've noticed, played, and I can get their demos to watch. That's it. So, RIP any prospects who are not on that list of teams, because I can't make the videos right now. It's actually impossible. So yeah, frustrating. I thought it'd be simple. Just it's not that complicated, surely, to get the demo to work.
I'd love to know what is actually breaking it, because like, what would it be? Surely is the information recorded from a game really that different between these different versions?
Yeah. Plus, surely the information that's recorded is not how the animation should run. Like, that should be local. Like, my client should be getting a player's POV, like, he moves here, looks like this. Shouldn't then go, oh, well, the gun's got to move back 3 spaces. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why would it get that info from anywhere? Like, I could get it if there's like a discrepancy on something that's causing one thing to be somewhere, but it's also somewhere else because client and server side, maybe it recorded wrong. But these just seem arbitrary. Like, players walking around in T poses holding their guns like T-Rexes going brrr at each other shouldn't be a thing. So I don't know. Something's completely broken. That's my biggest problem with the game, honestly. I don't encounter cheaters. I don't get massive problems with my FPS. My friend does crash the moment someone gets headshot to end a round. If the last kill of the round is a headshot, his game crashes. So that's not great. But for the most part, I have no problems with the game. So all that's left to fix is the demos for me. Realistically, the demos, and then there's the eternal problems CS has had since forever, like casual is pointless. Some of the maps suck. Deathmatch, we perfected it in community servers, just copy-paste the rule sets from the community servers. Current deathmatch is crap. Like, stuff like that, but it's like, this has been a problem since Go. I can't say it's a CS2 issue at all. So, yeah, biggest thing, demo viewers.
Yeah, it would be helpful for us all, because I'm not a guy who watches a lot of demos. I want to be the guy who watches more demos. I can't.
Everyone is.
Yeah. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get a fix at some point, like a permanent fix. I would hope we get like a backwards compatible fix.
That'd be lovely.
It would be like, because I'm wondering, surely the crash is happening because the data of the demos is different from update to update, even if it's just a small patch. But in that, it probably, like, if I'm being technical, probably it's just like a small thing, like a small flag is like something tiny is being changed, like at the start or the end of the demo, so that breaks the entire thing, which is possible to move around if you just like process the data a bit more. But like if I'm guessing, but probably they're just not doing that because it's just not a priority for them. But that should hopefully mean that we could look back on the demos that were or are broken. Because the information should be the same. You have movement information, you have shooting information, and you have all of this stuff. And that shouldn't have changed too much.
But yeah, the stuff that's breaking right now is mostly models and animations, which is the most confusing part. Like, I was talking about it with my coding nerd friend, and I was like, do you know what they've done wrong? And he was like, honestly, dude, it makes no sense. Compared to what a demo should be, like, in concept, and what's going wrong, I have no idea how the two connect, so...
Yeah.
The demos remain the most powerful and potent mystery in all of Counter-Strike. Because to be honest, something I didn't realise, okay, this is a bit of a tangent, but like a long time ago, I can't remember which video exactly it was or who this video was with, but it's some kind of piece of Thorin content, I think it was. And he was talking about demo views in other games and how terrible they were compared to the CSGO one, and the CSGO one being surprisingly, like, magically good. And at the time, I thought nothing of it, but I've actually tried to watch demos back of other games. Like, literally, like, I think Splitgate had a weird demo viewer, and, like, Rocket League saves things. And I'm like, the only one that's come even vaguely close is Rocket League. Like, the Rocket League, like, replays are pretty much perfect. But damn, no other, like, system has what we've been able to do in Counter-Strike demos, like, with everything. Like, we can do everything in a Counter-Strike demo, and Half-Life After Effects can unpack even more, right? And we can do all this crazy stuff. Like, it's actually impressive the amount of information that's stored in them. It's just, it doesn't compute, like, what's going wrong to create the issues we have today. So maybe they need to rehire the guy they fired, like, whoever it was who was figuring this out. Like, maybe it's one of those situations, you know, there's some sort of spaghetti that this guy understood. Like, he had the recipe. Guy. Yeah, he was the chef, the primary chef of this particular spaghetti, and they need him back because I'm getting pissed.
That is a real issue, and Counter-Strike obviously being built on a 20, like, to some degree even today Source 2 is built on code that is over 20 years old. We still have Source 1 stuff in the game to a degree, and Source 1 being built on Gold Source being built in 1999 or something like that. So there is a huge issue in software engineering with like knowledge siloing. You get one or two people who know everything, and no matter how hard you try, you can't really capture all of that knowledge to pass on to another developer. And at this point, we're reaching a point where it is not impossible that some developers, like early Counter-Strike or Half-Life developers, are genuinely just like almost nearing retirement. Like, there could be some older developers who are like in their 40s at that point. They are now in their 60s. They're now retiring, or like are approaching, or just want to move on to other things. So yeah, like knowledge siloing is a big problem, and that's probably part of the issue. I thought that was the entire issue that CS2 was supposed to solve, like moving to a new engine that was purpose built and better and new and removed all of the spaghetti. But apparently, there might still be some kinks.
The demo viewer remains. The demos remain the one little kink, and yeah. As generous as I'll be about all the other problems, and as much as I can blame on just the Reddit community being, let's put it, just I'm gonna make this face, and just not actually say what I'm thinking. You'll get the gist. Just to be polite, I think for the most part I'm able to just go, yeah, whatever, it's Reddit, whatever, not a real problem. But this one, I've lived it, man. You weren't there, man. That's a real problem. It's a real issue. So yeah, that's our wish list for 2024. Not the most excessive, but honestly, basically what we're wishing for is good Counter-Strike and a less shitty community.
Yeah,
perfect summation of it. But yeah, that's our.
You could just rebadge this episode and just call it like the 2022 year review, and it would be the same. Honestly, good Counter-Strike, a better game.
Yeah, aside from like the demo view, like, there's nothing else that we could have that we've ever wished for. We've always wished for the same things. Like, can we have better people and a better level of play? It'd be nice.
Yeah. Perfect.
But yeah, all right. Thank you all for tuning in. A bit of a meandering whatever episode because there's nothing on right now. We'll be back. I'm not sure we're going to do one next week. When does the Counter-Strike actually return? When does my life recommence?
3 weeks.
Oh, fuck off.
Blast Groups is in 3 weeks.
Jesus. What am I supposed to do?
There's gonna be some news. I don't think the shuffle is quite over. We're gonna have some roster moves. We have the award show in 2 weeks.
Oh, I guess we can do like an award show review.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's talk shit about
this is just live on air. We are discussing our plans for this show for the next year.
Yeah, we haven't even closed the. Shit, we should end the episode before we start.
Yeah.
Just casually, like, yeah, we should shit on HLTV. Just
no, man, don't say that.
Yeah, just do it. Don't say you're gonna do it. Just do it, because I will. So yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks probably. But for now, yeah, happy holidays, happy New Year, and all the best. Goodbye.
Goodbye.